they encourage you not to tie your occupation to your identity. I don't know how a farmer could not tie his occupation to his identity. And so when that occupation becomes an impossibility, you need to have some other options. But there can be good days. I am David Callister, and this is my wife, Makayla, and this is our home in Idaho. My family moved out here in the early 70s to get away from urban sprawl. My wife, Makayla, and I met at college in the late 80s. We got married in 89, and after graduating from school, we returned here in 93, and we built this home in 99. Dad farmed with Grandpa over to Blackfoot before we moved out here, and then we came out, and then Dad and Grandpa decided they couldn't get along if they kept farming together, so Dad went back over to the Blackfoot area and did some stuff with education. But I came out and farmed with Grandpa every summer, and this has always been home. Grandma's health deteriorated, and Grandpa decided he needed to step away and turn the farm over to my uncle. And the uncle said, well, I'm not, I need David. So he made me a partner. He came and had a meeting and said that within the next 5 years, we want the cows to be gone. As the one keeping the books, I knew that would be the end. And so I tried saying, there isn't enough land to provide income for both families, let alone any employees, if we don't have the cows. But they were ready for the cows to be gone. I think that our daughter was living with us that summer, and she and Makayla were feeding the calves most of the time at that point, and they went to town to get groceries or something one day and came home, and the calves were gone. They hadn't even told us that the cows were going to go away that day. And to them, they were thinking it was just this big blessing that now they don't have this chore to do every day. But for us, it was like, now what do we do? I kept hoping, believing, dreaming that something would change. I think it was when the cows left that I realized that there was no going back.
So I would think that one of the hardest things about the whole losing the farm was that our family worked together so well. We were an amazing team. That no matter what the problem was, we would solve it. And so when you have your family and they are well trained and they can just step in and do anything, you never realize how much of a blessing it is until they're gone.
And so I was hoping I was just going to piece together enough part-time jobs that we'd be fine. We could sell the hay from from what little piece of the farm that we had left. I could drive school bus. It was paying the heat and the lights. And then maybe I could pick up some other part-time help or something, and just going through a lot of, really am I paying my way? I'm not providing anymore, not really, not the way I was before. And I thought, you know what? I'm worth a whole lot more dead than I am alive right now.
And what would I say to you when you said that?
You would say no, but that was the thought that kept circling around. Monetarily, I'd be worth more if I wasn't here and Makayla could get insurance funds. Well, I told
him there was no way on earth that was true. It was worth.
But when you're sitting by yourself all day long, it felt that way. So I did think about, well, I could go on a hike and fall off a cliff. I could go on a hike and just get lost long enough that I get hypothermia, or I could just disappear into the mountains. But that was
Who would pick the kids up?
The substitute bus driver. But it was fun driving bus, so there was that. But that wasn't all day, and there was still a lot of time to think about things, which isn't a good thing at times, because the thoughts would build on each other, and it just ended up being a spiral down. It was hard. There were a lot of things that were hard in that period of time. People would say, "How you doing?" And you'd say, "I'm good." But you weren't. At church, my job at the time was to sit on the stand and take care of everybody else. And I'm the one that's hurting. That was hard.
From my perspective, I never had suicide thoughts, but I did have, if I'm ever in an accident or anything like that, just let me go. So I didn't want to go kill myself, but if something were to happen to me, I didn't want anything.
That might be even a better way of putting it. The future had become less desirable.
Well, it was just a lot of hard.
Things I've learned about stress in the last couple of years are it really inhibits your ability to think and make good, wise decisions, because it just chemically it messes with you, and it hurts your ability to think and reason, colors the way you see the world. It's just hard.
Don't bail. Hang on to him. He needs you more than ever.
There were a few people who saw through the I'm okay,
fine.
I'm doing fine.
And who knew how to make a difference.
Right.
It didn't shut him down.
They didn't ask the question in such a way that kept shutting me down. There's two that I can specifically remember doing it that would say, it was Mike and Jeff. And they would come and how you doing? What can we do to help? They were earnest in the way they presented it, and that made a difference. It made me realize that there was somebody out there besides Makayla and my kids who cared and were willing to support. They even offered to have me drive tractor for them that summer or whatever, which would have been, but by the time it was summer, we had found a more permanent employment. There's life on the other side. Might not be what you planned, might not be what you expected. There are less dark days now than there was 5 years ago. And in fact, they're getting to be fairly rare. So there is hope.
It takes time.
It takes time.
It's been 5 years.
Keep the communication flowing. You need to keep talking. Maybe you're not willing to share everything that's going on because you're not even sure you believe that yourself sometimes, but it's important that we talk. I think that would be the biggest thing, is that you keep talking about what's really going on, and you need to not hide things, even though that tends to be what we would do, is, just rub some dirt in it and move on, kind of thing. But that's there's times with it you really need to visit, because even that visiting can be helpful.
I think it's, what happened with us is we go through a grieving process, and everybody grieves differently, and time is, it can be short for some people, it can be long for others. And I haven't lost, a spouse or anything like that, but I imagine that losing the farm and our dream of farming forever was definitely a grieving experience, and it's still a process that we're still going through. There's far fewer bad days. Most of them are good, or even great.
So
where before, to have a great day was like not. It just didn't.
And so we need to be able to recognize that as a society, that there are people who are suffering and they need some help, and it's okay for them to get help.